Back with David Tillison and
David Ford.
Yep, and we are
Talking about the Model T tonight.
and we are going to be continuing our Harmony of the Gospels. We've been trying to figure out what we're going, if we can find anything interesting.
Interesting.
Yep. But we decided on this.
And who knows, we might pull something out of here.
Yeah.
May put our thinking caps on.
Yep. You got yours on. Oh no.
What happened? You chopped my head off.
No. But anyway, I believe that the professor has a transition.
Again. We're talking about the hypocrisy of the lawyers and Pharisees.
You mean that the Pharisees are being hypocrites?
It says lawyers too.
Yeah.
What are lawyers? What was lawyers back in their days?
Ooh. I know what they are now.
Well, they ain't the same.
Yeah, I know. What were they back then?
Scribes.
Scribes. Okay.
That's what he's talking about. Scribes.
I should have known that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Jesus' invitation to dine with the Pharisee results in a whole wide range series of curses directed against his opponents, the scribe or lawyers and Pharisees. Jesus condemned the Pharisees for being excessively concerned with trivial matters such as ritual purity and tithing, while failing to pursue important matters such as social justice and ethical behavior. The lawyers also are denounced for sharing in the perpetuation of injustice, but they are singled out for criticism for their father's part in killing the prophets. On this occasion, Jesus' opponents began laying a trap in order to accuse him of some crime. By noting this, Luke anticipates Jesus' arrest, trial, and crucifixion, which all the evangelists do in different ways. Luke presents these sayings of Jesus as a single speech given while a guest in the house of a Pharisee, while for Luke, this event occurred during the journey from Galilee to Jerusalem. Matthew shows Jesus giving these sayings on several occasions in a different order, and at times both before and after the journey, but not during it. Unlike the scribes and Pharisees, who received nothing but condemnation, his disciples are both warned and reassured, and Jesus reassured them of God's love and concern for them, but counseled them on the price of unbelief and the rewards of faith.
It's pretty good. These transitions are always inside. There's always something that you might know the story, but something
Gives you a little more background.
Yeah, a little more background.
Yeah.
So, he brought this up earlier, which is, I thought that was pretty interesting. We'll get there. And Luke 11, verse 37. And as he spoke, a certain Pharisee asked him to dine with him. So he went in and sat down. When the Pharisee saw it, he marveled that they had not first washed before dinner. Then the Lord said, "Now Pharisees make the outside of the cup dish clean, but your inward part is full in wickedness." Now, David, we have not a transition, but a religion and worship on this verse. You want to read it?
Yeah, go ahead and read it.
Okay. So the Pharisees were not the only concern about the ritual matters spoken in Luke 11:39. The approved religion of Rome focused on performing rituals exactly as they were prescribed. If an error was made in the ritual, the Romans displayed their piety by starting over from the beginning and continuing this way until everything was correct. Otherwise, they felt that their religious services were ineffective. Any thoughts on that?
Well, that was a rotten sermon today. You had to start over 3 times.
Yep. Yeah, that's...
You was reading about the in verse 39 about clean on the outside.
Yeah.
It says these condemnations by Jesus are similar to those in Matthew 23. The Pharisees washed the outside of cups, making them sure that the cups had not become unclean through contact with a dead insect. Jesus pointed out that the Pharisees concerned themselves with outward appearances and ritual cleanliness, while what was inside was what really counts. It was full of selfishness and evil.
Which a lot of people, they're selfish.
Well, I mean, they're cleaning the outside of the cup, but they don't clean the inside. See, we always wash the cup, but we get it dirty, don't we? Inside and out.
Inside and out.
We don't know what would come out of the inside of it.
Yeah. Even water.
Yeah. Or coffee grounds.
Especially coffee grounds. Yeah. So, verse 40. Foolish ones, did not he who made the outside make the inside also, but rather give alms of such things as you have. Then indeed all things are clean to you. That's an interesting statement. All things are clean to you.
Let me read it
Out of the
amplified way.
Yeah.
It says, but give that which is written as charity, that is, acts of mercy and compassion, not as a public display, but as an expression of your faithfulness to God. And then indeed all things are clean for you. Shazam.
I like the Amplified because it gives you a little bit more detail. But woe to you Pharisees, for you tithe and mint and rue all the manner of herbs, and pass by the justice and the love of God. These you ought to have done, without leaving the others undone. Woe to you Pharisees, for you love the best seats in the synagogues and greetings in the marketplaces. Woe to you scribes, there's your scribes, and Pharisees, you hypocrites, for you are like graves which are not seen, and the men who walk over them and are not aware of them. Then One of the lawyers answered and said to them, Teacher, saying these things, you reproach us also.
That's an insult.
Yeah.
The reproach. You're
Yeah.
insulting us too. But what I want to ask you is,
Yeah.
what's this tithing mint and rue?
I was wondering the same thing.
Hmm.
Which, you think tithing like giving the money to the synagogues.
Well, it says here, some
Or the
Pharisees
church.
took the strictest interpretation and counted almost anything, including spices. However, they neglected two basic things that the prophets also had warned about: love and justice.
Yep.
So they're both spices.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like, to them everything is taxable. So everything's an income.
Mm.
If it puts you ahead by a grain of sand, I got you ahead. So you got to tie that grain of sand.
Yep. Verse 46, and he said, Woe to you lawyers, for you load men with burdens hard to bear, and you yourselves do not touch the burdens with one of your fingers. Woe to you, for you build the tombs of the prophets, and your fathers killed them. In fact, you bear witness that you approve the deeds of your fathers, for they indeed killed them, and you build their tombs. Therefore, the wisdom of God also said, I will send the prophets and apostles, and some of them they will kill and persecute, that the blood of all the prophets which was shed for the foundation of the world may be required from generations, and even this generation, from the blood of Abel to the blood of Zechariah, who perished between the altar. Pharaoh said the affair. The altar and temple. Yes, I say to you.
Done what? Between the what? Between affairs?
I know it.
He never got to the second affair, did he?
I know it. Woe to you lawyers, for you have taken away the key of knowledge, and you did not enter in yourselves for those who were entering in the hindered. Now, I find it kind of significant with from Abel to Zechariah, from the blood of Abel to the blood of Zechariah.
Yeah, he was murdered.
Yep.
Between the altar.
Yeah, Zechariah, right?
Yeah.
So, but what do we know about Cain? The famous story, Cain kills Abel, right? But what about Zechariah?
Well, that'd be something you have to look at. Well, he was a priest,
Yeah.
but was he one of the godly priests, or did he follow the letter of the law and all that stuff? If he was, maybe some other priest killed him or something.
Yeah.
You're talking about the burdens in 46. It's Jesus was referring to the man-made rules and unreasonable requirement, which they were hard to bear.
Yeah.
And they turn around telling you yourselves not even touch the burdens with one of your fingers to lighten the load. Why not change the law? Make it easier.
Yeah. God really kind of gave them common sense laws, the 10 Commandments: don't steal, don't kill.
But like I said, these
For you to be an upstanding citizen, you think.
scribes and Pharisees were adding man-made rules. These weren't God's rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, good point. Good
And
point.
then he's talking about the prophets that repair or build tombs. Jesus made a biting, ironic comparison between the current generation of Israel and the generation of the past. Jesus was saying that the current generation finished the job of slaying the prophets that the previous generation had started. The building and care of tombs was supposed to be an act of honoring the prophets, but Jesus pointed out that something else was really going on. Whoa, you lawyers.
Yep. So let's finish this up and let's talk about something.
Okay.
And as he said these things to them, the scribes and the Pharisees began to assail him and vehemently and to cross-examine him about many things, lying in wait for him and seeking to catch him in something he might say that they might accuse him. So there's a common theme in this. What's the common theme in this little chapter right here?
Well,
It says it several times.
well, this is the scene in Chosen where when Jesus was admonishing the scribes and the Pharisees about their compassion.
Yeah.
Telling them, what are you doing for these people? You're putting a burden on them with all these rules. You think you're cleaning them, but you're not. Then he jumps on them about tithing every little bitty thing.
Yeah.
They were counting every little bitty thing. It could have been it could have been where they got to the point where they was asking more than the first fruits. They might have wanted some of their second fruits.
True.
Anything that helped you out, they wanted a piece of it.
Yep.
Because they were saying that we're doing the same thing.
Yep.
What profits us, we will give a tenth of it.
Go ahead and read verses 1 through 6. 1 through 7. Yep.
1 through 7.
Yep. Luke 12, 1 through 7.
Jesus here is declaring, beware of the hypocrites. It says, in the meantime, after so many thousands of people had gathered that they were stepping on one another, Jesus began speaking first of all to his disciples. Be continually on your guard against the leaven of the Pharisees, that is, their pervasive, corrupting influence and teaching, which is hypocrisy, producing self-righteousness. But there is nothing so carefully concealed that it will not be revealed, not so hidden that it will not be made known. For that reason, whatever you have said in the dark will be heard in the light, and what you have whispered behind closed doors will be proclaimed on the housetops. I say to you, my friends, do not be afraid of those who kill the body, and after that have nothing more that they can do. Excuse me. But I will point out to you whom you should fear. Fear the one who, after he has killed, has authority and power to hurl you into hell. Yes, I say to you, stand in great awe of God and fear him. Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 copper coins? Yet not one of them has ever been forgotten in the presence of God. Indeed, the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Do not be afraid. You are far more valuable than many sparrows.
Of course. And if you remember Matthew 6, it talks about the sparrows don't worry because God clothes them, so why should you have any worry, right? Now, I find this interesting. Starting in verse 8. And we can we got plenty of time. And I say to you, whoever confesses me before men, him the Son of Man will confess before the angels of God. But he who denies me before men will be denied before the angels of God. And anyone who speaks a word against the Son of Man, I wonder who that is, it will be forgiven him, but to him who blasphemes against the Holy Spirit, it will not be forgiven. So if you're wondering what the unforgivable sin is, what is it, David?
Unbelief.
Blaspheming the Holy Spirit, right?
Unbelief.
Well, that's the same thing, right?
Nope.
No?
Mm-hmm.
Explain.
Well, it says here that whoever intentionally discredits the Holy Spirit by attributing the authenticating miracles done by me to Satan, it will not be forgiven. Well, you don't see many of us doing them miracles today anyway.
Yeah.
So this is to this generation, because these are the ones that are seeing the miracles done. These are the Pharisees. These are the Pharisees and lawyers who are calling Jesus miracles a work of Satan.
Yes.
So since the Gospels are actually in Old Testament time, at the end of it, this would only apply to that particular time. The only unforgivable sin now is unbelief in Jesus. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, he's practically telling the religious sect that you're contributing what the Holy Spirit is doing in His miracles to Satan.
Yeah. Verse 11. Now when they bring to you the synagogues and migrants and adulteries, do not worry about how or what you should answer or what you should say, for the Holy Spirit will teach you in that way in that very hour what you ought to say. Now that's interesting. I think that's applies for us today too.
Well, even after the Holy Spirit came, Peter and him was talking to the authorities and everything. He almost convinced a few of them.
Yeah, yeah.
They held on. They white knuckled themselves and held him off.
Mm.
You ever heard about the white knuckles?
Yeah.
Holding on the pews, not.
Yep. Yeah, that's. I think that's common, especially nowadays. But let's talk about that. We got. You still didn't give me the common theme of chapter 11, the end of chapter 11.
At the end of it?
Yep.
You talking about them
There's
conspiracies and everything?
no. There's a phrase. There's one word in there. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees.
Yeah.
And what is the acronym for woe? What on earth?
Well,
What on earth, you scribes and Pharisees?
He gives the reason. That's the one I'd be looking at.
Yeah.
You have taken away the key to knowledge, scriptural truth.
Yep.
Kind of like all them rules they've made up just means that these generations had to learn more
Yes.
than what actually was supposed to have been taught.
That is true. That is true. It's also, their Bible was the Old Testament, correct?
Yeah.
Because none of the New Testament has been
Pentateuch
written at this point. And really, it's cool to think about that Revelation was written before, probably, they say before Saul became Paul. Which is pretty interesting.
Well,
Pretty cool.
some say it was written almost 100 years after turn of the new BC to AD.
Yes. And also,
It was 90 something AD. Paul had already been dead.
have you heard of this? That some people say, I don't believe this though, that John, Revelation, the Revelator, is still alive.
Still alive today?
Yep, like he went up to heaven. He never came back to earth.
Well, Elijah and Enoch did the same thing, didn't they?
Yeah, but it doesn't say that he came back to earth is what they're saying. Because
When did they say he went to heaven?
John come up here. That's Revelation 4, isn't it?
Oh, you talking about?
Yeah.
No, he was in a dream. He was in vision land.
Vision land, yeah. A lot of good stories and good truths to it. But what do you think about the Holy Spirit will teach you in that very hour what you ought to say?
Well, he's more or less giving them a taste of what's going to happen when he's not there.
Yes. But that applies to us today, correct?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like if you're talking to someone, witnessing to someone, and God gives you something, hey, I didn't know I had that. That's pretty cool, Has that ever happened to you?
No. Every time I try to witness, I get choked up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I say, okay, when do y'all take over?
And
Jesus just chokes me up.
I know it.
Mm.
And we are at 30 minutes. And in our next session, we'll be right back.
Time for some more coffee.
Yes.